Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something kind of weird when you think about it. Why is it that in our own lives, all we want is peace and quiet, but the stories we love are always about trouble? We're going to explore that paradox and see how it becomes one of the most powerful tools for persuasion in a place where everything is on the line. The courtroom. I mean, look at this. It's a huge contradiction, right? On one side, you have everything we work for: safety, comfort, predictability. But on the other side, you have what we look for the second we open a book or turn on a movie: conflict, danger, and suspense. We literally spend our lives trying to run away from trouble, but in a story, trouble is the only thing we'll pay attention to. According to author Jonathan Gottschall, this isn't just a minor preference, it's the one and only rule of narrative. The writer Charles Baxter nailed it with this quote: "Hell is story-friendly." Just think about it for a second. A story about a perfectly happy family having a nice, normal day, that's not a story. It's boring. Only trouble is actually interesting.
So what is going on here? What explains this massive gap? If stories are supposed to be an escape, why do we keep choosing to escape into worlds that are packed with problems, often way worse than our own?
Well, it turns out there's a universal grammar to every story. And it's pretty simple. You have a character, they're thrown into a terrible predicament, and the whole story is about them trying to get out of it. It doesn't matter if you're talking about ancient myths or the latest superhero blockbuster, this formula is always there. You take away the predicament, and poof, the story's gone.
The real answer, as it turns out, is baked right into our evolution. Stories aren't just for fun, they're a training ground. They're actually one of the most important tools our species ever developed. Psychologists have this amazing term for it. They call stories flight simulators for social life. You can think of them as this ancient form of virtual reality. They let us experience these incredibly high-stakes situations: love, betrayal, conflict, danger, and we get to learn all the crucial lessons from them without suffering any of the real-world pain. The hero fails so we don't have to. We get all the experience with none of the scars.
And the wild thing is, it works because our brains are basically hardwired to treat these simulations as if they're real. You know that feeling when you cringe when the hero gets hurt, or your heart starts pounding during a chase scene? That's not an accident. Through what are called mirror neurons, our brains literally catch the emotions on the page or screen. This actually strengthens the neural pathways we need to handle our own challenges in real life.
Okay, so stories are powerful simulators. That's fascinating. But how does this all apply in a place where the stakes couldn't be more real? I'm talking about the courtroom. This is where the art of telling a story becomes the science of winning a case. And this is where, according to Socio-Trial expert Professor Brandon Blankenship, a lot of lawyers make a huge mistake. They fall right into what he calls the victim trap. They tell a story that's all about passive suffering, just a long list of pain, loss, and damages, hoping that it'll make the jury feel sorry for their client, but it almost never works. Think about it. When all a jury hears is a story about weakness, they don't get inspired, they get uncomfortable. Sometimes they feel manipulated, or even worse, they might start blaming the person for their own situation. You have to remember, in a trial, the jurors are the ones with the power. They are the potential heroes. And here's the absolute key: nobody wants to be a hero for someone who has already given up.
So how do you fix this? What's the right way to tell the story? Well, you don't ignore the pain, but you completely reframe the narrative. You have to transform the story of a passive victim into the journey of an active victor.
And the difference is it's night and day. A victim story is all about what was lost. A victor story, on the other hand, is about the fight to overcome that loss. It's not about denying that terrible things happened. It's about showcasing the incredible strength and the daily struggle to live in spite of it. This tiny shift changes the jury's response from pity, which is passive, to empathy, which is an active desire to join the fight. Now, crafting this journey is a very specific, strategic process. First, you have to show the jury who your client was before everything went wrong, a full, vibrant human being. Then, you frame the entire case not around what was taken away, but what they are fighting like hell to get back. And maybe most importantly, you have to use the right language. The words you choose change everything. It's the difference between saying, "I can't do the things I used to love," and saying, "I am trying every single day to find a new way to do the things I love." See the difference? The first one is a story of defeat. The second one, that's the story of an underdog hero. And we are biologically programmed to root for the underdog. But the single most powerful tool in this entire playbook is, well, it's the one that sounds the most counterintuitive. It's not about focusing on the pain at all. It's about showing the one thing you'd think has no place in a story about tragedy: joy. This is a core idea from Professor Blankenship's work. Let this one sink in. When you deposit joy, you can withdraw the pain. What he means is, to make a jury truly understand the depth of a person's loss, you first have to make them feel the height of the joy that was taken away. You have to make them care about the life that was before you ask them to fix the life that is. So how in the world do you tell a story of catastrophic loss with joy? You do it by becoming emotionally available to the joy of your client's past, not emotional about their present pain. You tell the stories of their best moments, their wedding day, the day their kid was born, that time they got a promotion, and you tell it with real warmth. You let the jury feel how beautiful that life really was.
And when you do that, something amazing happens. It's a psychological transfer. By letting the jury see and feel that brilliant light of past joy, they understand the darkness of its absence in a way that's personal, that's visceral. They don't just feel sorry for your client anymore. They feel the loss themselves. And that makes them want to fight.
In the end, it comes down to this. The storyteller has to feel the story so deeply, so authentically, that the jury has no choice but to feel it too. Our human craving for stories about trouble isn't some weird bug in our system, it's a blueprint for how we connect. And it shows us that to make someone truly understand loss, you can't just show them the pain. You have to first show them the joy that made life worth fighting for in the first place. So the next time you have to tell a story to persuade someone, ask yourself, are you just showing them the wound? Are you showing them the fight?